Warning: this video contains satirical and dry humor. Please remember to stay hydrated. It is estimated that every day more than 80 species become endangered and over 100 species go extinct, many of which are species that we have yet to discover, gone, never to be seen again. Before humans came into the picture, most species went extinct through natural selection. Perhaps their food source diminished and they couldn't keep up their numbers. Or sometimes a natural disaster could come by and disrupt the food chain. Now, in the 21st century, however, most of the animals going extinct can be the result of human activity. And in the world of Gundam Battle Operation 2, the Heavy Gundam has suffered greatly due to human intervention by the developers. In the before times, the Heavy Gundam had few natural predators, and its natural map environment allowed it to thrive. It is debated by scholars whether its large shoulder beam cannon could stun without having to focus. If it didn't, then it was before the evolutionary development of maneuver armor among the newer species of raids. The original Heavy Gundam maintained a good relationship with the generals on its team, both looking out for the other in most cases. There were a few raids who would brave attacking them, but outside of a few raids having to deal with, the Heavy Gundam could hold its own and contribute to the team. 3 out of its 4 weapons were very effective at causing massive damage per every second. This was a beast you did not want to meet out in the open with no cover. Even if an enemy could close the distance for an attack, the Heavy Gundam's frame launcher Gatling gun meant that the enemy was going to have to pay for it for every inch taken forward. Its Gatling gun was one that even the Pale Rider cavalry will look at with envy, and the Heavy Gundam could fire non-stop when properly alternating between its weapons. In those days, there was only one 500 cost mobile suit, and so 450 basically was the top of the food chain, and there was less competition among the different supports. Sure, there was the full armor Gundam, the gun cannon, the Dom cannon, and the Dom barrage, among others, but they tended to share the space in peace, much like the peace that followed after the 1-year war. But then the Lost Fleet arrived and carried out Operation Stardust. Nothing was the same after that. The entire ecosystem changed rapidly and all 3 classes had to adapt to keep up. Even some of the generals struggled. As a result, crossbred mobile suits appeared. These were generals that didn't know what they really were. They had the weapons of a support, but they were stuck in a general's body. And others nearly moved like generals, but were stuck in a support's body. Unfortunately, this only created more competition. Every week the competition grew larger, and the Heavy Gundam was pushed out of its native habitat of 450. It tried to migrate to 500 and 550 lobbies, but by then it struggled to stun any of the newer raids hunting it. Its shoulder beam cannon was powerful, but required a level of skill to handle. Skill that required time and practice to acquire, and there clearly wasn't enough time for many. As for the raids at 550 the Heavy Gundam had to face, that list is too graphic to show on here and may trigger some trauma among support players. Even when I try to go back to the 450 matches, the environment had changed. The Gundam ground type and EZ-8 versions had moved into the area with their higher level versions, and the raids there were also of a different breed by then. Much like when humans introduced a new species into a new environment to solve one problem, a second problem arose. In order to push back the new raids that had invaded the land, the developers decided to introduce a new breed of generals. They were enough to contain the spread of the raids, but now there was a new breed of general that could also take on the supports. As a result, the player count of the Heavy Gundam mains declined rapidly. It happened so fast that no one really noticed. The next thing anyone knew, it had suddenly been added to the endangered species list. By the time the Grips War happened, the Heavy Gundam became a rare occurrence. Some players will claim to have seen one out in the wild from time to time, often with no proof or with a bad blurry image, much like with Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster. Sometimes someone would joke after a girl would say that unicorns are real. Sure, and somewhere a Heavy Gundam is getting top scores in all 4 categories at the end of a match. But now it's hard to see the Heavy Gundam ever having the numbers that it once had. Even if it adapted to the times, would it be too little, too late? There are so many more suits roaming around in what used to be its native 450 home. Perhaps if it could go down to 400, but who ever heard of a suit receiving a lower cost? Not me. Maybe the best thing we can do is preserve the few Heavy Gundam players remaining and place them in a wildlife sanctuary. But I'm no wildlife expert. From what I'm told, such creatures can never thrive in such a confined space. And so, we're left with having to let natural selection run its course, even if its downfall was caused by human hands.
Thank you.
Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you all in the next video. This has been Mobile Suit K9, signing off now.